Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. It's May the 1st, and today we are in the 20th chapter of 1 Kings. Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, gathered all his host together, and there were 32 kings with him, with horses and chariots, and they went up and besieged Samaria and warred against it. And he sent a message to Ahab, king of Israel, and said, "Your silver and your gold is mine, and your wives and your children, and all the goodliest that you have are all mine." And the king of Israel answered and said, "My lord, according to thy saying, I am yours, and all I have is yours." And the messengers came again and said, "Thus saith Ben-Hadad, saying, Although I have sent unto thee, saying, Thou shalt deliver me thy silver and thy gold and thy wives and thy children, yet I will send my servants unto thee tomorrow about this time, and they will search thine house and the houses of thy servants, and it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in thine eyes thou shalt put in their hand, and they will take it away." Now, what Ben-Hadad was doing was trying to pick a fight. And the king of Israel, he says to his elders, he says, "Look, they're trying to find mischief. They're trying to find an excuse to be at war with me." So the elders and all the people said, "Do not listen to him. Do not agree to this." And so Ben-Hadad, he set his army in array against the city. And there came a prophet unto Ahab, king of Israel, saying, "Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will deliver it into thy hand this day. Thou shalt know that I am the Lord." And Ahab said, "By whom?" And he said, "Well, thus saith the Lord, even the young men and the princes of the provinces." And then he said, "Well, who will order the battle?" And he answered, You will set the battle." So he numbered the young men of the princes of the provinces. There were 232. And when they'd numbered all the people, there were 7,000. Wow, not very many, was there? And they went out at noon. Ben-Hadad was drinking himself drunk in the pavilions, he and the kings and the 32 kings that helped him. And the young men of the provinces went out first, and Ben-Hadad went out, and they told him, saying, "These are the men come out of Syria." And he said, "If they've come out to peace, take them alive. If they've not come out for peace, then take them alive as well." So the young men of the provinces came out of the city, and the army followed them, and they slew every man, and the Syrians fled. And Israel pursued them, and Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, escaped on a horse with the horsemen. And the king of Israel went out and smote the horses and chariots, and slew the Syrians with a great slaughter. And the prophet came to the king of Israel and said, "Go and strengthen yourself, and mark and see what thou doest, for at the return of the year the king of Syria will come up against thee." You see, this was a great victory. With only 7,200 or so, he had destroyed this vast army of all these kings that had gathered against Israel. Now, the next time the Syrians come, they come with a different strategy. They say, "No, obviously the God of Israel is the God of the mountains, and we're the God of the plains. So what we need to do is we need to fight them in the plains." And they pitched battle against each other. And on the 7th day the battle was joined, and the children of Israel slew of the Syrians 100,000 footmen in one day. And the rest fled to Aphek into the city, and there a wall fell upon 27,000 of the men that were left. Now, it's been pointed out that this would have been an impossibility if it's read just as the Authorized Version says. It's impossible for a wall to fall down on 27,000. But what it's really saying is that a wall fell down upon the earth, and that exposed 27,000 to the enemy. That's the point. Ben-Hadad fled and came into the city, into the inner chamber, and in the inner chamber they decided that they would surrender they would surrender to Ahab. But Ahab didn't kill him. When he did surrender, he gave him a covenant, said that I will give a covenant with you, and sent him away. A prophet comes along and condemns Ahab for doing that. A certain man of the sons of the prophet said unto his neighbour in the word of the Lord, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man refused to smite him. Then he said unto him, Because thou hast not obeyed the voice of the Lord, behold, as soon as thou art departed from me, a lion shall slay thee. And of course he went away, and immediately a lion found him and killed him. So he found another man. He said to him, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man smote him, and in smiting him he wounded him. So the prophet departed and waited for the king by the way, and disguised himself with ashes upon his face. And when the king came along, he didn't recognize the prophet. And the prophet says, he says to the king, Thus saith the Lord, because thou hast let go out of thy hand a man whom I appointed to you utterly to destroy, therefore thy life will go for his life, and your people for his people. You see, Ahab was victorious in battle, but he didn't follow through, and he did not kill the king. He should have done. It came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard, and Ahab said to him, Give me your vineyard, that I may have it as a garden for herbs, because it's near my house, and I will give thee a better one, whatever seems good, and I will give you all the money that you need as compensation. But the man said, No, I don't want to give you the vineyard, because it belongs to my family. It's part of my inheritance. And Ahab went home looking very glum, and his wife said, What's the matter? And he says, she says, Aren't you the king of Israel? Arise and eat and be merry. I will give you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. And so she organized a feast, or she proclaimed a fast, and she organized 2 men of Belial. Now, men of Belial, this expression is used of exceedingly wicked men. And she brought them in to bear false witness against Nabal, to say that he blasphemed God and the king. And they carried him out and stoned him, and he died. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go and meet Ahab, king of Israel, who is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak to him. You shall say, Thus saith the Lord, thou hast killed and taken possession. Thus saith the Lord, in the place where the dogs licked the blood of Naboth, thy dogs will lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, You have found me out, O mine enemy. And he says, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off all the men of Israel. And so there was none like unto Ahab, who did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, who Jezebel his wife stirred up, and he did abominably in following idols, according to all things as did the Amorites, whom the Lord had cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard these words, that he rent his clothes and put sackcloth on, and fasted and lay in sackcloth, and went softly. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, See how Ahab humbles himself before me. Because he humbled himself before me, I will not bring evil in his days, but in his son's days will bring evil upon his house. Now, chapter 22, we have the prophet Micaiah. Now, Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel, and he said, Let's go and fight against the Syrians. And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am yours. My people are your people. My horses are your horses. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the Lord today. Then the king gathered together all the prophets, 400 of them, and said, Shall I go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I not? And they all said, Yes, go up. The Lord will deliver them into your hand. These were 400 yes men. These would have said yes to anything that the king said. So Jehoshaphat, when you get 400 prophets that all agree, then there's something not right. So Jehoshaphat says, Is there not a prophet of the Lord besides these men to inquire of him? And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, Yes, there is one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of the Lord, but I hate him, because he doesn't prophesy good concerning me, but evil. Jehoshaphat says, Let the king say so. Then the king called an officer and said, Bring Micaiah. And they bring him in front of the king. And now the messenger says to Micaiah, Now listen now. The prophets have declared good about the king with all one mouth. So I pray thee, be like the word of one of them and speak that which is good. And my password is what he answers. Verse 14, Micaiah said, As the Lord liveth, what the Lord saith unto me, that will I speak. And that's a true prophet. He only preaches, he only says what God says. That's the sort of men we need today, isn't it? People that will speak what God says. Not people that will just make something up. People that will just agree with each other. So the king said to Micaiah, Shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we not? And he says, Go, the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king. And the king said unto him, How many times have I adjured it that you tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of the Lord? And Micaiah said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills, as sheep with no shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. So, what Ahab decides to do, he decides he will disguise himself. So he puts on some different clothes and he goes into battle. And now the commander of this Syrian army tells everybody, don't fight with the men, just try to get hold of Ahab. And verse 32, a certain man drew a bow at a venture. He just thought, well, I'm in the battle, I better do something. So he put his arrow in the bow and he stretched it and let it go, and it smote King Ahab, and he died, and he bled into his chariot. And later, when he was taken away and buried, somebody washed the chariot by the pool of Samaria, and the dogs came and they licked up the blood. You see, this was exactly the prophecy that the prophet had brought. And Jehoshaphat, the son of Asa, reigned over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab. And Jehoshaphat was 35 when he began to reign. He reigned for 25 years in Jerusalem. Now notice verse 43. He walked in all the ways of Asa his father. He turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. See, this was a righteous man. Nevertheless, the high places were not taken away, for the people offered burnt incense yet in the high places. And Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. Then we have the next person that's introduced. It's Ahaziah. He's the son of Ahab. Notice what it says of him. It says, he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. He served Baal and worshipped him, and provoked the Lord God of Israel according to all that his father had done. So in the covenants then, and in the Mosaic covenant in particular, there were two designations of people. There were those that did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. They're called the righteous. And there are those that did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. They are called the wicked. Sometimes, if they're exceedingly sinful, they're called sons of Belial. There we are. What a wonderful passage. Look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.